Hello, welcome to the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. My name is Angela and all of the places you can find me should be linked in the description box below this video. I'm just doing my intro this week for the vlog here on my local beach. I haven't brought my projects down to share with you here, but I haven't been down here for at least 2 weeks, maybe 3, and I know a lot of you enjoy the beach. So before we get stuck into what I've been making this week, here is a little bit of beach footage just for you. So I hope you enjoyed that little bit of footage from the beach. Fast forward a few hours, it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon now, and I'm ready to sit and chat to you about what I've been making this week. I've got some knitting, some crochet and some spinning to share with you. Before I get stuck into all of that good stuff, I just want to say thank you so much to anyone who has been able to support the channel, either by joining over on Patreon to make regular contributions, or who has donated anything using the Ko-fi link, which you'll find both of those below. I really do appreciate that support. As you know, life has changed for me somewhat over the last few months, and how I am able to spend my time is changing quite a lot. So I appreciate people who are able to make those donations, which just helps me prioritise a bit of time for making the videos here, and for also hopefully helping to improve the content as I go. But please don't worry if you're not able to support the podcast in that way. I completely understand. It's not something that is a possibility for everyone. Just by being here, by watching, by liking, by subscribing, you're supporting the channel, and I truly appreciate the time that we get to spend together. Long-time viewers will notice that I'm back in front of my orange wall, which means yes, I'm sitting down again. I'm still experiencing a little bit of pain and discomfort in my leg, but my mobility is much better now. It's mostly just at night when I'm trying to sleep that the sort of dull ache and throbbing starts, which is a real pain. And if I walk any sort of long distance, I can definitely feel my legs sort of starting to drag a bit, which is a bit strange. Slowly but surely, I'm getting much better, and that sciatic pain is definitely, hopefully, heading out the door. So fingers crossed. Hey, let's get stuck into the making content. It's been a really busy week for me this week, so I don't feel like I have managed to achieve that much, but I've still got a few things to show you, so I thought it was still worth hopping on and chatting to you about my projects. So I think I will start with crochet this week, and it won't be any surprise if you've watched the last few weeks, but I managed to finish the 2 twiddle muffs that I was making last week, and I think these are the right ones. I've got a stack of them downstairs now, which I'm going to be sending off to Knit for Peace tomorrow, and I think these these were the ones that I was working on. So I was making one from my sort of white and neutral scraps, and that's all finished, and I have decorated it now. I've put on some buttons, I've got a bit of lace that I've kind of tied in a bow that can be untied and redone up. I've got some ribbon strung through an eyelet row up here, and I've added some beads to that ribbon and just kind of made one bit sort of hanging down a little bit further, so that's something that can be played with. And then the same on the other side, I've got button, like a little bit of lace thread through some of the eyelets. Oh yeah, I've got a bell hanging off the side, but this bell seems to have lost its middle bit, so it's more just a sort of button to fiddle with on this one, rather than something that makes that nice kind of bell chiming noise. So that's number 1, and then I also finished the orange one that I was working on as well. I had this kind of big fake flower, so I've put that on, and I've sewn a button in the middle. I've got some little bits of ribbon. I've got one of those sort of like loops that I crocheted in, and I've attached some ribbon to that. And on the other side, I've got this ribbon with some butterfly buttons that can sort of slide along. Big button down here, another bit of ribbon with some beads hanging, and another piece of lace which can be sort of tied up and untied again. So yeah, they were the two that I finished this week. I also managed to almost finish this blue twiddle muff. I haven't yet added any embellishments to it. I've got enough scraps and leftovers left over in my little bag of blue scraps to make another one, so I thought I'd wait till I crocheted the second one before I actually embellish them. I've got enough scraps and leftovers to last me a lifetime now that we've cleared out the shop. I think I brought home 2.5 sort of big black bags full full of leftovers that were lurking in various places around the shop. So yeah, I think I'll be twiddle muffing forevermore at this rate. But it's nice to have these projects to work on, and it's nice to give back, isn't it? So I'm enjoying carrying on with these makes for charity, and I'm definitely getting through my sort of novelty yarn stash with like the eyelash and the textured yarn. So that was kind of the main sort of goal for this project when I first started it. I'm going to continue working on the twiddle muffs throughout September. I'll probably work on them from now until the end of the year, I think, is my goal. For August, I've made 8 to donate, which is really nice. But I can see myself sort of slowing down on that a little bit as I start to concentrate on some other projects. I've got some gift knitting that I'd like to do in the coming months before we get to sort of the seasonal festive Christmas period. So that will probably take a little bit of priority after this month. So yeah, it may be that I continue the twiddle muffs but not at quite so fast a pace. I've also got one other crochet project that I'm really itching to start as well. So yeah, we'll see if that comes to fruition anytime soon. But on to spinning. I thought I'd try and sit back at my wheel this week, but I just haven't found the time. I thought I would find some time on maybe yesterday or Sunday. I took the afternoon off yesterday, but in the end I ended up doing a bit of baking and some knitting, and I just didn't get round to sitting at the wheel. So this week I'm hopeful. I've also just chased up what's happening with my e-spinner that I ordered. It's been over a month now since I've ordered it, and at this point I'm a little bit cross. I was promised that it was going to be dispatched last week, and that didn't happen, so I'm waiting for a response from that company to find out what's happening. But anyway, I won't grouch here on the podcast. I'll show you what I've actually been spinning this week, and I pulled out a spin project that I started a little while ago on my Enid Ashcroft Turkish spindle, and I'm spinning up some rolags which I got from Spindles and Stitches. Oops, throwing it everywhere. This was a gelato colourway, so a combination of pinks and browns, and I've got one sort of turtle, one rolag already spun up somewhere over the other side of the room. I should have brought it over to show you, but I've almost finished the second rolag now. I was inspired actually to come back to this Turkish spindle because of the spindle I showed last week that was sent to me by my lovely friend Ruth, and I started spinning up some cat and sparrow fibre on a 3D Turkish spindle that Ruth sent me in a lovely package, and then I thought, hang on, before you get too invested in this project, why not go back and try and finish another Turkish spin project that you've got before you get sort of full into that. I'm sure I'll probably end up switching between the two because I just can't resist having lots of little spinning projects on the spindles. I try really hard not to have too many, but I'm lucky enough to have so many beautiful fibres that are waiting to be spun that I just can't help but sort of pick and choose. I'm like a kid in a sweet shop with all of the pretty candy to choose from. So how long I will stick to this, I think I've got like 4 or 5 more of these rolags to spin through. So yeah. Don't be surprised if I'm showing a completely different spinning project next week. But yeah, this is what's been taking my fancy this week, and I've been enjoying taking a little bit of break from work. I've been doing a lot of screen work on the laptop these last few days, getting ready for the Yarn and Yarns website. But I make sure that I'm pretty strict with myself. I set a little timer on my phone for no more than 30 minutes sat down staring at the screen, and then I get up and wander around, and the last couple of days have been beautiful sunny weather. So I've been taking my spindle out into the garden on my sort of little 10-minute breaks from the screen. and that's how I've managed to spin up this sort of rolag in the last couple of days. So that's been really nice. I've got my rolag broke, so I've got the rest of this light pink, and then I've got a teeny tiny bit of the dark pink, which was the end of the rolag, left to spin, and then this cup will be finished and I can start the next rolag. On to knitting. I have got one finished object and 2 works in progress to show you, and one of the works in progress is something that hasn't been seen here on the channel for a long time, so it's kind of an unexpected pull I felt towards working on this project, but I'll show you that in just a moment. First for my finished object, and if you've been following along you might know what it is from the project bag. This is a lovely bag that was sent to me recently by Michelle, and inside here are my Lemmy socks. I've woven in all the ends, but I haven't actually blocked these yet, but that's okay. They look nice enough as they are, and I'll stick them on the sock blockers in just a second. So here we are. These are my Lemmy socks. It's the yarn that was so kindly gifted to me by Andy and Angela over at Attic Spin Dye, and this is their Lemmy colourway, and these have been quite a regular feature on the podcast over the last couple of months as I've been slowly working away on these. I haven't rushed through these at all. I have been tremendously enjoying spending time with this colourway. It's so beautiful. I think they turned out great. Just a plain vanilla sock, my usual recipe, which is 64 stitches on a 2.25mm needle, and I'm completely thrilled with how these turned out. This colourway is just stunning. I'm kind of sad they were over. But I do have yarn left, so I haven't weighed this, but I've still got quite a lot of yarn left, so I'm going to make a short pair of socks out of these as well, and I might need to just pair them with another colour for sort of contrast, heels and toes maybe. Excited to have finished these, another pair of socks off of the needles for our Yarn and Yarns Summer of Socks knit along. There's still 2 weeks left to join in that knit along, so please keep knitting away on your socks. There are over 40 pairs now in the Ravelry finished object thread, which is amazing, and I've also seen some other finished objects pop up on Instagram, and also I've been emailed some photos of finished objects, so I reckon we are probably well over 50 finished objects now between us all, which is just amazing. It makes me so happy to see all of these socks, the works in progress and the finished objects popping up on my Instagram feed or over on the Ravelry thread. My own personal progress, this is the 3rd pair of socks that I've cast off during our 2-month knit along. So yeah, there's 2 weeks left, so we've got till the 14th of September to get some more socks off of the needles, but I'm pretty pleased with my progress, and I think I'm going to get at least one more, so I think I'm going to end up with 4 of the 6 of my whips finished during the sort of period of this knit along, which I'm pretty pleased with. So thank you so much for joining in if you have, or for cheering on from the sidelines if you're not a sock knitter. It's been really fun to have your company while I try and work through some of my sock whips. And of course, as has become our newest tradition here on the podcast, hopefully here follows a happy feet dance. While we're on the subject of socks, my next work in progress, I guess we'll stick with them, is living in this beautiful, beautiful bees bag by my lovely friend Julia, who is Mindful Magpie, and as usual I'll link her website down below. And this bag contains my sheep socks, which are a lovely pair of socks in yarn by Artistic Yarn by Abby. I don't know why I always have trouble remembering the yarn dyer's name, and it's not complicated, but this skein of beautiful self-patterning yarn was gifted to me by my lovely friend Jeanette, and I cast these on as one of my 12 cast on projects last year. And as you can see, first sock finish, which I think I showed off last week, and yes, I did, because I remember saying I just had to Kitchener the toe. So of course I did that this week, and I've cast on for the second sock. A little bit of progress. I haven't spent tons and tons of time working on these, but that's okay. I have got one sheep finished and another sheep is starting to emerge there. So the thing that held me up a little bit was getting going with this picot cast on, which isn't complicated. It just takes a little bit of extra thought than just the normal cast on 64 stitches that I usually do. So these socks kind of languished in the bag for a few days before I got round to kitchenering the toe and casting on. But as you can see, I'm well underway now. So I've got the circuit, there's 3 sheep repeats on the leg. So I reckon by this time next week at least I hope to have the leg and put in the heel. I think that's definitely doable, even with everything that I've got going on. Once you sit and start knitting on these, they don't take that long at all. So yeah, that's my aim for next week, is to be at least past the heel on the second sock, and then that will give me 1 more week to try and get this pair of socks off the needles before the end of our knit along. So hopefully I can do it, and hopefully I'll end up with 4 finished pairs of socks. Keep your fingers crossed for me. And the second knitting project that I've been working on this week is one that we haven't seen here for a little while. I just felt a fancy to work on it, and so I pulled out this project bag from my whip pile. This is one I made myself a couple of years ago. It's got this kind of haunted, spooky, gothic kind of fabric with these ravens. There's a poison bottle. It's kind of a fancy teacup, and there are bats everywhere, or skulls, yeah. And inside here I am working on my Stone Avenue cowl, which is a pattern by Tammy Gore. And I cast this back on in, I think, February, because I went on a day out to Bath, and I put a vlog up about that day out. And while I was in Bath, I purchased this skein of Malabrigo yarn. And back at the start of the year, I told myself that if I was going to buy any yarn or fibre this year, I was only allowed to buy it if it got used pretty much straight away. Of course I told myself that. Have I stuck to that? No. But back in February, I was very keen for that to happen, and I cast on this cowl. The pattern's by Tammy Gore. It's a beautiful cowl, 2 different yarns. So there's the Malabrigo, which I paired with a skein of Stranded Dye Works. This is her Magpie colourway, which I bought on a D-stash. And then along with that, I'm also using some mohair. This is some Rowan Kid Silk Night, which is long discontinued, but it's mohair with a sparkle in it. And this was given to me by one of my customers who purchased it ages ago and decided that she didn't get on with mohair. So she donated a quantity of mohair to me, including 2, well, not quite 2 skeins of this. So here is my Stone Avenue cowl. This marker way back here shows where the cowl was when I first picked this up a few days ago. So I'd only knit this first section, and as you can see, it's come on in leaps and bounds. So you hold various yarns together in different combinations in different parts of this cowl. I've just finished a brioche section, and I'm about to start another brioche section, except that this project is now going to go away for the rest of September, because if you have been following along, you'll know that I've already picked out my projects for the next few weeks, and this sadly isn't one of them, which is a bit of a shame now that I've got back into the rhythm of it. I'm well over halfway through this cowl now, and yeah, I've just been really enjoying picking it up and knitting on it over the last few days. I do really like this colour combination that's going on between the sort of dark stranded and the Malabrigo. This section of the Malabrigo is held together with the mohair, and you can see it really mutes down those lovely speckles, which I think is just a gorgeous effect. But I love the yarn just kind of by itself as well. So yeah, I think I'm on section 8 or 9 of this out of 13 sections. So I reckon if I get to pick this up again in October, it won't really take that long to finish. I've knit all this in a week, so it's quite addictive because there are different sections with different types of patterns. You kind of spend a day thinking, right, okay, I'm going to knit the next 2 sections, or I'm going to knit this section. So yeah, it's been a really fun one to work on. So yeah, the Stone Avenue cowl by Tammy Gore. Everything. So I think it's going to be quite a short one this week, which is absolutely fine. I keep going on about about it, but I'm really busy at the moment. with work, and also, as you know, I've been struggling a little bit with health, so I'm pleased with the progress that I've made on all of those projects that I did get to work on this week. So yeah, just in general chit chat now, the shop is now closed. You might have seen the vlog that I put up, sort of kind of documenting the last week of Yarn and Yarns at the current premises. It was a little bit hit and miss because I didn't do that much recording, but as the channel started as a way of kind of recording my journey as a yarn shop owner, I wanted to do that vlog just as a kind of neat kind of wrapping up of that chapter. This week we are full steam ahead working on website content, and with any luck the website will launch this weekend, so either aiming for Friday evening, but yeah, we'll just see how that goes. Keep an eye on the social medias, so Instagram, Facebook. The links for the pages are down below for news on that, and I should have a newsletter link coming soon where you'll be able to sign up, and I'm going to offer a discount code for your first order through the website if you do purchase. I'm trying to get a good range of stock on there for the launch. It won't be everything that I'll end up stocking, but I just want to kind of get the website up and running, get a proper presence online, and then we can expand the range and list more products and items as time goes on. But I think at this point it was really important for me to try and have a fairly quick transition from bricks and mortar to online, therefore have time to put up every single product. But yeah, if you follow the social medias, then anything new that hops onto the website I'll be sure to tell you about. I may pop up an occasional video here as well about that stuff. Yeah, generally it's been quite a good week. James was off last week helping me to do the last sort of bits and pieces at the shop. He's back at work now, working from home. I'm working from home, so it'll be interesting to see how that dynamic sort of pans out over the next few weeks. And yeah, let me know how you are. How's your week been? What projects are you working on? How are you feeling? What's it like in your part of the world at the moment? We've had a couple of really nice sunny days here in South Wales, and today was the first time that I went to the beach in 2 or 3 weeks, which was just a pleasure and a joy. I loved it, but I'm still mindful not to overdo things because I'm still getting a little bit of pain in my legs. So yeah, slowly but surely, and hopefully we'll get back to normal soon. Yeah, I think I'm going to wrap things up here. I need to stand up and move around. I can definitely feel my foot going a little bit numb, so I guess that's a sign for me to get up from this sitting position and get the blood flowing again. So thank you so much for joining me. Until we get to spend time together again, I hope that you get to do some of the things that you enjoy. Great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now.